Good evening and welcome to another edition of the Evening Review. Thank you for joining us. My name is Okito Craig. I'll be your host tonight. And in studio with me this evening is Mr. Borro Ndungula. He is the Secretary General of Ganja Users Namibia, GAN. Welcome, sir.
I'm pleased to be here. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. 420 has significance to marijuana users all over the world. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, this day called 420 is actually, its long name is International Cannabis Day, but its short name is 420. 4 stands for April and 20 the day, so it means that on the 20 of each of April, the users that are using cannabis gather around the world and they celebrate this day, because this day has a significance in a sense that the students who started this event, which was somewhere in United States, they always used to meet at around 4:20 every day. That was the only time that was available for them, and at that time they used to smoke. So as for their part in doing cannabis activism, they came up that let's come up with a day that can be celebrated as International Cannabis Day. But first they started only celebrating at the universities, and from there it spread from city to city until eventually it spread into the world. So people started celebrating 420 as International Cannabis Day.
I see. And here in Windhoek, in Namibia?
In Namibia, it have never been celebrated. So that's now where we came in with an idea to say, okay, our brothers and sisters internationally, the users of cannabis, they are again celebrating International Cannabis Day. So why doing not also holiday here in Namibia for the first time? So that's now where we had it on the 20 April. We held it here in Windhoek, and we started at the FNCC and we marched through the Oshpenplatz all the way through the Independence Avenue, all the way up to Oshpenplatz. And the march went well, and the thing is, our march, actually, it was normally when we are marching, we are calling for legalization of cannabis, but this time around, it was something different. We were actually marching in order to raise awareness about the benefits and the uses of cannabis, both medicinal and also economic uses. And then the other thing also, we were asking the government to review the current drug law that governs, of which also cannabis is part of, because if you look at that drug law of Namibia, is one of the draconian one in the world, because it allows the government to take people's properties. People are losing houses, people are losing cars and houses and other assets if, for instance, the state finds 115 grams of cannabis in their house or in their cars. Or then what happens is that this draconian law gives the state too much power, whereby now the government can confiscate your house, your car, or your other assets that are valuables that are in your side, and then once then you have to fight, because otherwise, if the court finds you guilty, then what's going to happen? They're going to forfeit your property to the state, and this is something that also happened to our president, Brian Jaftha, whereby he was arrested. And him, in his case, he was found with 91 grams of cannabis, which was valued 2,000. And then he was charged for dealing. And thereafter, he was found guilty by the court. So his car was already confiscated on the day that he was arrested. But then what happened is that now, when he was found guilty, then the court forfeited his car to the state, and his car was valued at 160,000. Now, the value of the cannabis, which was 91 grams, was just valued at 2,100. So we feel that this drug law is draconian, it's unfair, it's going against the human rights of cannabis users. It goes also against the Namibian constitution, because it violates certain rights that are provided for by the Namibian constitution. And then also thirdly was just to now celebrate the International Cannabis Day, to tell the Namibian as of today and in coming years to come, here we are starting celebrating International Cannabis Day. In as much as cannabis is illegal now, even when it's going to be legalized, this day will be there. And with 20 April is now how we started it off now.
I see.
Yes.
But although I wasn't in town, I understand that the march wasn't very well attended.
Yes. Yeah, there are various reasons for that, why it was not attended. One is that now the people were leaving. It was the Easter weekend. People who wanted to attend could not attend so because they had to go with their loved ones to where they had already made plans. And then the other issue is also the people were also afraid to be harassed by the police because we are marching for something that is prohibited. And the other issue is also due to the fact that the police last time they interfered in our march because they stopped it and they said that we could not, our march could not partake for the purposes because it was being attended by the foreigners, so they didn't want any foreigners taking part in our march. So they decided to cancel it until we came to our sense as to just have Namibians participate in our march. So those were the issues that contributed. But our march, in fact, in as much as that it had a low turnout, it was not more about the turnout, but it was more about the message.
Yeah.
And the message that we were carrying was that we are requesting the government to review the draconian drug law because it's really a lot of people are losing their properties and assets to the state because this law, it's from 1971.
Yeah.
And ever since it has been enacted in that format, it was never changed. Now, 1971, we are talking about 53 years ago.
Yes.
And you know, during the Apartheid era, there were certain laws that were specifically created for the white people, which were good, but then there were also very draconian laws that were specifically and deliberately created for the black people.
Yes.
And this very now drug law is one of those laws because that law, it's like this. It gives police power to even search your house without a search warrant, whereas the Namibian Constitution says that if the state wants to search your house, they must produce search warrant. But when it comes to this drug law, it gives the police power to bypass the Constitution and just go to search people's houses. And the other issue is like for instance, with Brian's case, if they find the cannabis in your car, it means that car was commissioned to use the crime. So in that way, it's also taken. But the same is not applicable to the people who are committing robberies, who are committing rape or whatever funny crimes. When they also use their car to go commit that car, it's never applicable to them. So it's only in this drug law that you find these things.
I think we'll return to the issue of the law, but I wanted to just focus a little bit about on the attendance of the march.
Yes.
To ask you, was it a reflection of how prevalent cannabis use is in Namibia? Is it just a few people?
No. It's not.
Partake?
Yeah, it's only few people who partake. But when you look at the number of the people that are using cannabis, it's a lot of thousands. You see, according to the United Nations statistics on cannabis usage in Namibia of 2011, by then they were saying that 5% of the Namibian population is using cannabis. So now we are talking about 12, 13 years later. So that number might have doubled, if not have tripled. So at the moment we are talking about the number of 200,000 to 300,000. And why will I say it's like that number? Look at the amount of cannabis that is always busted at the border. It's cannabis worth of millions. And also you must also look at the number one, product that is selling in the shops is a Rizla. Rizla is now the commodity that is selling everywhere. And the Rizla, why is it selling so good? It's not because for the fact that tobacco sales are going high. everybody knows that it's because of the cannabis. And it's millions of Rizlas that are selling. You can do your research there with the Ministry of the Finance. They will tell you that Rizla is one of the fastest commodities.
And these thousands of people, are they all from certain areas, certain demographics, certain income levels, or?
No, not really. If you go everywhere in Windhoek, Rizlas, they are being sold in Klenkupe, they are sold in Eros, they are sold in Katutura, they are sold in Chomise, they are even sold far deeper in Sharks. So it shows you that the people that are using cannabis is in fact each and everyone. Everyone in Namibia is using, even students, the police officers, the army officers, the civil servants, the whole section of the Namibian society is using the cannabis, but it's a prohibited substance. And that's why the people do not want to come out and be even more open about it, because some people, even their works is stipulating that they must not get involved or be seen using these prohibited drugs Otherwise, that's one of the reasons they could be fired, you know.
Yeah.
So
we'll just take a commercial break quickly, but we'll be back in a few moments to continue this conversation. Stay with us. Welcome back to the Evening Review. My name is Okito Craig. I'm your host. And we continue our conversation with Borro Ndungula. He's the Secretary General of Ganja Users of Namibia. Borro, you were just saying how prevalent the use of ganja is in Namibia. I wanted to find out, initially there were plans for another march on the 3rd of March.
No, 3rd of May.
The 3rd of May, yes.
Yes, that one is going to be very interesting because what's going to happen, we want to start with this march at the prison, and then we'll be marching all the way to town, because during that march we'll be requesting for the release of all those people that are incarcerated in prison for the cannabis, because we don't believe they should be there, considering now the world has changed its stance on cannabis, whereby in 2020 the United Nations has rescheduled cannabis from the dangerous category in which it was, where it was said it was useless, to a useful category. So then it has also asked member states to also lessen their stance on cannabis, whereby Namibia is also a member state of the country. But what I must tell you is that Namibia is one of the countries that is having the strictest and draconian law that punishes people, even just for small minor. Imagine Brian Jaftha being sentenced for 2 years for a cannabis worth 2,000, which is 91 grams. So we are going to hand over a petition to the United Nations, whereby we are going to report our government that they are charging us under a law that clearly violates our human rights, clearly violates the Namibian constitution, and clearly violates the international human rights laws. So we are going to request the United Nations to put pressure on our Namibian government to really change the current drug law, because it's making the lives of a lot of people very miserable. Imagine you are working hard for your properties and for your assets, only to come to lose them to the state because there was 115 grams of cannabis found in your possession. So we are requesting the UN members to attend to our march, and then we are going to request them to call Namibian government to order.
Speaking about Mr. Brian Jaftha, he's the president of
yes,
GAN,
yeah,
and
Rastafari United Front,
and the Rastafari United Front.
Yes,
and he was arrested. Was that almost 2 years ago? How long ago?
Yes. He has served almost 2/3 of his sentence.
I see.
So it's 1 year and 4 months that he served.
I see.
Yes.
Does he come into? Does he qualify for parole?
Yes, sadly enough, Mr. Jaftha had qualified for parole on the 15th of February.
Oh.
But now the National Parole Board is trying to be funny because they have not considered his application for him to get a parole,
okay,
even though he's just there for cannabis cases. And I suspect it's because, when he's inside there, he made a case against the prison officials. So maybe I feel that they want to take now revenge on him on that. That's why now when he applied for parole, for which he qualified since February 15, they refused. So even asked us to follow it up and to go and ask, because whenever he's trying to do inquiries there from inside, it's difficult.
Yes.
And it's like, to me, it feels like it's being mistreated, because even whenever we are trying to go to visit them, we are always told, imagine you book to go to visit them, but when you come there on Sunday, they tell you, no, your booking is not here. So it's like they want to really show him that if you make a case against us while you are here, also going to give you a tough time.
That case that he made against them while in prison, that was about cutting off of
Yes, it was about
hair.
cutting off his hair, yes.
What is the significance of his hair? Why is it important?
He's a Rasta.
Yes.
And on top of it, he's a president of Rasta.
Yes.
And the Namibian constitution provides for existence of the Rasta religion.
Yes.
Article number 19 of the Namibian constitution, it talks about right to culture.
Yes.
Now for Rasta man to wear dreadlocks is a high significance. It's like rare you find a Rasta who do not have dreadlocks, and dreadlocks is a symbol of their vow that they give to God to say, Jah, I shall save you for life. And the hair is the proof of that. So by cutting the hair of Rasta is as good as you attack his religion. And the fact that you are even doing it to the Rasta president, it means you have attacked the Rasta religion. So that's how very serious is it.
And
that
the prison officials, did they claim that they didn't know, or were they informed? Did they know and just didn't care?
No, what happened to Brian Jaftha is something that happens to a lot of Rastas who go to prison. Because even me, when I went there, as soon as you arrive, as soon as you are sentenced by the prison, by the court, then the following day, you enter the prison today, the following day, they'll be coming to you, telling you, my brother, this is our prison. In our prison, we do not allow those funny long hair. We give you two options. Either you decide to cut them voluntarily, or we cut them forcefully. And if you are not going to cooperate with us, then what we're going to do is that we're not going to get any visits. And imagine I'm going to be there for 2 years and no visit. So most of the people, they just give in.
Yes.
Not voluntarily, but because of this psychological threat that the prison authorities are using.
I understand.
Yeah.
I understand that you and Mr. Jaftha, you also put in motion a constitutional challenge regarding that very law.
Yes.
Can you tell us about developments in terms of that?
Well, that case for us has started since 2021, and for now, at least now, we are now nearing the end, because now what is left now is just the stage of going to a trial.
Okay.
So the trial is coming on the 2nd of July. I don't know how long that's going to last, but thereafter, once the trial is done, then it's just submissions, and then from there is judgment. So we are now nearing the level where we'll now hear from the court where they are going to say whether we have lost or the government has won. But in a way that I view it, is we are winning in a sense, because the government is defending outdated apartheid era. You understand? It's no more about whether cannabis is good or bad. It's about apartheid era law, which is violating human rights of the Namibians, which is violating Namibian constitution, and which is violating international laws. That's what was the case now boiling to. So in that case, I think that we're going to win it, because there's no way you can defend a law like that, because within that law, there is a presumptions part, which is called Section 10 of the Drug Act, which is in short called abuse of dependent substance and rehabilitation center. Now that Section 10 is now where it has a problem, because it's violating the Namibian constitution directly, because under the Namibian constitution, that is now Article 12, a right to fair trial, you are innocent till proven guilty by a competent court. But under this law, as soon as they find, they say if the state finds 115 grams in your house or in your car, you are presumed to be dealing. So you are already guilty for dealing. So whether you are in fact really planning to sell or not, it's not about it. According to the state and the court, you are guilty. Now the onus now is on you to prove to them that you are not dealing. So the law makes it easier for the state. The state does not need to investigate whether you are really dealing. No, for them it just has to take that ganja that they found you with, they put it on a scale, and as soon as you sell more than 150, you are dealing. That's it.
I see.
Yeah.
Tell me, in our perception of Rastafari, we also often see that there's a rejection of the conspicuous consumption culture, the culture of accumulating lots of things. We don't associate Rastafari with having lots of possessions, being very rich. The reason I mention this is I want to find out, do you think that you can get a fair trial if you cannot afford the best lawyer? Or is there a way that you are able to pay for the best legal representation? Will you be able to pay for the top legal representation if the case takes longer?
Well, in our cases, it's like this. We are suffering because when we go to the court, they give you three options. They say you either defend yourself, and if you cannot defend yourself, the government will give you a government-paid lawyer. And if you cannot, or if you do not want a government lawyer, you have access to a private lawyer. But now what is happening, just in the words they say, but when you apply to the director of legal affairs there, for cannabis cases, mostly they never give you a lawyer. They will just tell you, no, your case is not worth for you to get a lawyer because it's going to cost more than the value of the case. So for ganja cases, actually, we do not have lawyers. And this is where the problem becomes now, because now people are being sent to prison, not because they are stupid, but because they do not understand the law. And the law does not take that into consideration, especially if you do not have a lawyer. And the system, the way it is designed, is to deny anybody that is arrested for cannabis to be provided with a lawyer. They want you must go get your own lawyer. But it doesn't make sense, because now imagine sometimes you are arrested for cannabis, the value is just 200. But when you go to the lawyer, you open a file, he's asking you 2.5, and per appearance, he's going to ask you 800. At the end of the day, you will end up paying 10,000, 20,000 for a case whose value is only 200. So it does not make economical sense. That's the way you find a lot of people ending up defending themselves, and they make a mistake, because for you to be able to defend yourself, you need to have some kind of a knowledge of law.
Yes, yes, yes.
Now these people do not know. It does not know what is the disclosure. It does not know what is evidence. It does not know how he should defend themselves on facts, or how to defend themselves on the law. They do not know. And that's how they, fortunately or unfortunately, always end up being as a victims. And they're the ones who are made the example of, because the people that are being sentenced to jail for possession or dealing in cannabis, and many is just these vulnerable ones who cannot afford the lawyers. If you can afford the lawyer, even if you are arrested with 200,000 kg of cannabis, or 10 kg, 20 kg, as long as you pay for a lawyer, your chances of winning that case are super high. And most of these people never see the inside of the jail because of the money that they are having.
Because they have money.
While those ones that are going always to pay for cannabis is these very poor ones.
We don't have much time left. Please remind us of the date when that constitutional challenge continues, and then tell us about regional developments in terms of cannabis in Southern Africa.
Yeah, okay. The case is taking place on the 2nd July.
2nd July.
Yeah, these 2 months to come. And let's talk about the regional development. Yes. When you look around all of the SADC, all the SADC countries, either they have legalized cannabis or they have not legalized. I mean, or they are about to legalize. That leaves the Namibia is the only country that does not or has not legalized cannabis. So now, if you see all the SADC countries are legalizing cannabis, it's because they see something good in it.
Yes.
And for Namibia not to want to legalize cannabis, they are missing out too much, because of all the countries in the world, Namibia is the one country that will benefit most from cannabis, because Namibia can become #1 cannabis export country, because reason being, Namibia has got a lot of land, lot of sun, and lot of water. That's all what you need for cannabis. Even the Europeans, they wish they could grow cannabis, but their weather does not permit it, because sometimes in Europe, people, they only see sun 1 hour or 2 hours in a day. Whereas here we see the sun, I don't know, from 7 to... And it's like that every day.
But what do you think is the reason why our government is so against cannabis?
No, it's our own primitive thinking. The people that are leading us, their understanding of cannabis is very primitive, and is relying on misleading information, and also on lies. And this information that they are relying on mostly is not even scientifically, it's not scientifically, or it's not even medically proved. It's just that their own assumption, or their own understanding from their own observation, how they've seen maybe one person, how he was behaving on having consumed cannabis. Because cannabis is not for everyone. Out of the 100 people, 1 person will go mental or something, but only 1%. Most of the people, it's not like that. So they are judging, according to that 1%.
Okay.
Yes.
Perhaps share with us your vision for the future. How would you like things to be in Namibia in terms of cannabis?
Well, when it comes to the issue of human right, cannabis is also a human right. So the government, yes, they cannot tell us how to dress, what to eat, what to smoke, what to drink. Equally also is to cannabis. It should be an individual decision for people to decide, do I want to use cannabis or do I not use cannabis? Not for the government to come and tell me, you cannot use cannabis. It's going in violation of my rights. And there's nothing really bad about cannabis. The old view that we had that is very harmful, it has been defeated by the United Nations. They've said it's not as harmful as we used to think. We are sorry about it. Change your drug laws to lesser and reschedule cannabis. Our government has been told so, but now it's now 2024, 4 years, and up to now they have not done anything, and they are sending innocent people to prison. And imagine now, to keep one person in prison, it costs government 1,000 per day. So per month is 3,000, and per year is 36,000. And in 2 years, like for instance, Brian Jaftha, it means if they keep him there up to October, it's going to cost the government $72,000. And what is the value of the crime? 2,100.
Yeah.
So we have a problem in terms of thinking. We are losing too much money for nothing for cannabis, whereas we could make more money if we legalize it.
Thank you very much. Thank
Always
you very
welcome.
much. And thank you all for joining us on another interesting edition of the Evening Review. We keep the conversation going. Tomorrow we'll be discussing something else. So please join us again, and please keep track of the legal developments in this important issue. Thank you very much, and good night.